Step into a world where the cold bites harder than steel, where temperatures plunge to 60-degree rangs, and the very air seems to freeze in place. No ovens hum, no microwaves beep, no power lines hum with electricity. Yet in this icy kingdom, the Inuit, people have crafted meals that warm both body and soul, using nothing but stone, snow, and the wisdom of generations. Their kitchens, igloos lit by stone lamps, aren't just places to cook. They're proof of humanity's knack for turning the harshest corners of Earth into home. Over the next hour, we'll uncover how the Inuit mastered Arctic cuisine, from a lamp that dances with flame to dishes that defy the frost. Welcome to the coolest kitchen you'll ever visit. At the heart of this story is a tool so simple, so elegant, it feels like the Arctic itself designed it. The quillic. Picture a crescent-shaped slab of stone carved with a shallow trough, glowing with a ribbon of flame. It's not just a lamp, it's the pulse of a traditional Inuit kitchen, a beacon of warmth in a land where cold rules. Made from soapstone, the quillic is no ordinary gadget. It's a culinary cornerstone, a family treasure that's cooked meals, lit homes, and told stories for decades, sometimes centuries. In a world where a power outage sends us scrambling for candles, the Inuit have leaned on this stone marvel to feed their families through winters that make blizzards look like a light breeze. Crafting a quillic starts with the stone, and not just any rock will do. Soapstone, soft enough to shape, tough enough to endure, is the Inuit's gold. Elders teach that the perfect stone feels right under your fingers, smooth and free of hidden cracks that could split under heat, spilling hot oil like a culinary disaster waiting to happen. It's a skill you can't learn from a manual. Inuit. Carvers tap the stone, listening for a clear ring, feeling for flaws invisible to untrained eyes. A good quillic is a legacy, passed down like a recipe for your grandmother's best dish, its surface worn smooth by years of use. Some families still use lamps their great-grandparents carved, each nick a memory of meals shared in the flickering light. Lighting a quillic is where the magic begins. Long before matches, Inuit cooks struck sparks from pyrite onto dried moss, or Arctic cotton grass tucked along the lamp's rim like a natural fuse. Today, a match might kick things off, but the art hasn't changed. The wick, moss, or grass demands patience. Too short, and the flame's a weak flicker, barely enough to warm a cup of snow. Too long and you've got a smoky mess turning your igloo into a signal flare for every polar bear in a 10-mile radius. A skilled quillic tender coaxes the wick just right, nurturing a steady flame that hums with a soft crackle, a sound that tells you the heat's perfect, no thermometer needed. It's like reading a stove's dial, except your dial is a dance of fire and stone. What fuels this flame? Seal blubber, rendered into oil, the Arctic's answer to gasoline. Don't wrinkle your nose. This isn't some crude backup plan. Seal. Oil burns clean at 76 hexadegree, when other fuels would freeze solid or fizzle out. It's as if the Arctic tailored it for the job. A well-tended quillic purrs with efficiency, its flame adjustable with a nudge of the wick, rivaling a modern stove's precision. That gentle crackle. It's not just music to an Inuit cook's ears, it's a gauge telling them when the heat's ready to boil, simmer, or keep a stew warm. In a land where every calorie counts, this fuel wasn't just convenient, it was a lifeline turning fat into feasts. The quillic doesn't cook alone. Above its flame, pots dangle from cords of leather or sinew, their height tweaked to catch just the right heat. Want a rolling boil? Lower the pot, need a slow simmer, raise it up. It's a system so intuitive it makes a gas range look clunky. Inuit cooks took it further, turning one lamp into a multitasking marvel. By placing pots at different distances from the flame, they could boil water in one while warming broth in another, all on a single quillic. Modern chefs brag about zone cooking with fancy ovens, but Inuit kitchens were doing it centuries, though with no Wi-Fi or warranty required. Inside an igloo, the quillic transforms the space into a culinary hub. Forget the idea of a snow dome as a chilly hideout. It's a warm, working kitchen. With the lamp burning, The interior can hit 60 degrees near the flame, even as the outside world dips to 84 degrees. That's not just cozy. It's a climate-controlled workspace. The igloo's design amplifies this. Snow's air pockets insulate like a natural blanket trapping heat. The dome's curve lets cold air sink to the floor, creating cooler zones for storing food, while warmer air hovers higher, perfect for cooking or eating. It's the Arctic's original smart home, no app needed. The Kulik's light is something special too. Its orange glow bathes the igloo in a warmth no bulb can match, casting shadows that flicker like stories on the walls. Every curve of the lamp is deliberate, refined over millennia to balance fuel, flame, and function. It's not just a tool, it's a symbol of resilience, proof that the simplest designs can outlast empires. In a world obsessed with upgrades, the Kulik stands firm, unchanged because it's already perfect. But cooking in the Arctic isn't just about heat, it's about wrestling with cold. Imagine prepping dinner when your ingredients are harder than granite. Meat, fish, even your breath freezes solid at 83 degrees. A regular knife would snap like a twig, and good luck filleting a fish that's basically a sculpture. Inuit cooks mastered this frozen gauntlet with a technique called partial thawing. They'd warm meat just enough to cut, never fully thawed to keep it safe in a world without fridges. It's like walking a tightrope. Too frozen and it's unworkable, too soft and it spoils. They'd check texture with a quick touch to their lips, a human thermometer honed by years of practice. Hunters played their part too. After a kill, they'd tuck fresh game inside their parkas, using body heat to keep it pliable until they reached camp. Back home, meat was sliced into strips and flash frozen on snow, locking in flavor with tiny ice crystals, centuries before freezers patented. The trick, aging meat? That happened in permafrost caches, where slow enzyme action turned cuts into rich, complex flavors, like a steakhouse's dry aging room, but carved from ice. Marinating wasn't out of reach either. Herbs, berries, or seal oil applied before. Freezing seeped into meat over weeks, ready to burst with flavor when cooked. Cutting frozen food demanded more than skill. It required tools built for the tundra. Enter the ulu, a crescent-shaped knife with a handle atop a curved blade. Unlike straight knives that strain your wrist, the ulu channels force from your shoulder, slicing through frozen seal or caribou like butter. Its handles, caribou antler, walrus ivory, or whalebone, stay grippy in the cold, unlike metal that'd glue to your skin. The ulu's rocking motion dices, chops, and fillets, fitting perfectly into soapstone pots that hold heat for hours, like nature's slow cooker. These pots, heavy but even heating, could simmer stew long after the Kulik cooled, saving precious fuel. The Inuit's toolkit was a masterclass in efficiency. Bone ladles doubled as snow scoops, scrapers cleaned hides and pots, and the tatak, split antler, gripped slippery meat. The ixiak, a bone hammer, smashed frozen chunks when blades failed. Every tool was multi-purpose, vital for a nomadic life where every ounce mattered. A Inuit scraper even harvested frozen seal blood, a nutrient-rich ingredient, without a speck of snow tainting it. Unlike plastic that cracks at 40 degrees Celsius, these bone and stone tools were Arctic-proof, their designs unchanged because they worked. Modern additions, sharpening stones, fabric-wrapped handles, fit seamlessly, proving the system's timelessness. Tools weren't just gear, they were sacred. Kids as young as 6 learned to care for them, sharpening blades and oiling handles. By 10, they knew which tool did what, a rite of passage as vital as learning to hunt. When traders brought metal pots in the 1920s, some tried them, but many returned to soapstone. Metal cooled too fast, tipped over, and gave food an odd taste. As one elder said, "New doesn't mean better, just different." Ceremonial tools carved with symbols came out for feasts, tying meals to heritage. Igloos themselves were culinary marvels, not just snow huts. Their spiral walls, built from dense snow at the base to lighter flakes up top, balanced strength and insulation. A thin ice glaze inside, formed by cooking heat, sealed the dome, reflecting warmth. A tiny vent at the top swapped air without losing heat, like an architect's dream airlock. The sloping floor channeled spills into depressions that doubled as mixing bowls. Niches carved into walls held ingredients, thawing slowly or staying frozen as needed. Multi-family igloos had connected domes, one for smoking meat, another for fermenting, each a micro-kitchen tuned to its task. Cooking wasn't all fire and knives. Raw foods like iguanak, fermented walrus or whale meat, were nutritional powerhouses. Buried for months in permafrost, iguanak turned pungent and cheese-like, packed with vitamin C to fend off scurvy. Kiviak, birds fermented in sealskin, was a winter staple, its intense flavor a badge of survival. These weren't desperation meals but deliberate science, using cold to slow harmful bacteria, while friendly microbes worked. Freezing altered meat's texture, making raw dishes feel cooked. Europeans once scoffed, but today's foodies see the genius, with fermentation trending worldwide. Plants played a role too. Summer brought seaweed, rich in minerals, and berries, blueberries, crowberries, preserved in seal oil for winters. Vitamin boost. Labrador tea and pine needles brewed nutrient-packed drinks. A family might gather 20 gallons of berries in a season, each handful a hedge against the dark months. These foraged foods weren't sides. They were survival, woven into dishes with meat and fat. Communal feasts, or nirivik, were the heart of Inuit cuisine. In the polar night, when darkness stretched for months, families gathered in vast igloos, kulik flames circling like stars. After a whale hunt, Nalukatak feasts shared the bounty. No one left hungry. Everyone had a role. Hunters brought meat, elders told stories, kids tended flames. Food was equal. Elders got nutrient-rich organs. Hunters protein-heavy cuts, children softer bites. Waste, zero. Bones became tools, marrow a treat. Stories of hunts and ancestors flowed, tying generations. Studies show kids at feasts learned 37% more traditions, their language skills soaring. Feasts weren't just meals, they were survival. News of weather or migration spread, vital in a pre-radio Arctic. Today, as store-bought foods creep in and climate shifts hunting, feasts adapt. Country food festivals blend old and new, inviting outsiders to taste bannock or whale blubber ice cream, strengthening cultural pride. These gatherings cut depression rates, proving food heals more than hunger. On the move, Inuit kitchens folded into sealskin bags, weighing under 10 pounds. A quillik, knife, pot, and moss for fire packed everything needed. Hunters lit flames in blizzards, melting snow with a water seed to save fuel. Pemmican, fat, dried meat, berries, delivered 6,500 calories a kilo, fueling days on the trail. Camps sprang up in minutes with rolls clear. One stoked the quillik, another cut meat, a third melted snow. Improvisation saved lives. Meat warmed against skin when gear failed, though it raised eyebrows back home. Signature dishes told stories. Arctic surf and turf mixed seal and caribou, balancing omega-3s and iron. Head soup, tongue, eyes, brain used. Every scrap, sustainable before it was trendy. Akutak, whipped fat and berries, was Eskimo ice cream, sweet yet primal. Caribou marrow, cracked by kids, was a calcium-packed treat. Bannock, a newer staple, now holds lasagna or whale fat. Bridging eras. Each bite carried history, nutrition, and defiance of the cold. The Inuit kitchen wasn't just tools or recipes, it was a philosophy. Nothing wasted, everything shared, every skill earned. From the quillik's flame to the ulu's slice, they turned ice into feasts, proving ingenuity.